There is a forest under Greenland. Yes, a real forest. Trees, soil, ancient plants. All of it buried under nearly 2 kilometers of ice. And it has been sitting there for almost 3 million years. But here is the strange part. This frozen forest holds clues that could rewrite Earth's entire climate history, and maybe even warn us about our future. So, what exactly is hiding under that ice? And how did it get there in the first place? Well, to answer that, we need to go back, way back. But not just a few lifetimes or a few thousand years. We are going back millions of years to a Greenland you would not recognize. Before we get to that forest buried in ice, you need to picture something very different. Imagine Greenland, but remove all the snow, remove the glaciers, remove the freezing winds. Now replace them with green valleys, running rivers, and trees stretching for kilometers. That might sound impossible today, but millions of years ago, this cold giant was a warm and thriving land. And that is where our story really starts. Greenland did not always look like the white cap at the top of our planet. 3 million years ago, the world was warmer. Oceans were higher. Trees grew farther north than you could ever travel today. In this ancient age, Greenland was covered in forests, streams, rich soil, and life. Back then, the Arctic Circle was not the icy, dark region we know. It was full of green. Scientists even believe that insects, small animals, and birds lived there. But something happened. Actually, many things happened. The climate changed, temperatures dropped, winter storms grew stronger. And slowly, the first layers of ice began to form on top of that living forest. Not just a thin sheet, not even a thick winter layer. We're talking about mountains of ice forming year after year. Snow fell, packed down, turned to ice, then grew thicker. 1,000 meters, then 2,000, until the entire forest vanished like a secret buried beneath a white blanket. Fast forward millions of years, we arrive in our time. A group of scientists are drilling through Greenland's ice sheet. Their goal is simple: pull up samples of the ancient ice to learn how Earth behaved long ago. It is normal research, nothing strange expected. But sometimes nature throws a surprise. When the drill came back up, the scientists found something they had never seen before. At first, it looked like dirt, dark, crumbly. But inside that dirt were tiny fossilized remains of leaves, twigs, and even root fibers. Someone on the team realized what this meant. This was not ordinary soil. This was the ground beneath an ancient forest. A forest sealed in ice for millions of years and preserved like a time capsule. Imagine holding a leaf that is older than humans, older than the pyramids, older than almost every animal alive today. That is what they found. And if that sounds unbelievable, well, the surprises were just beginning. You see, this ancient soil was not dry. It was frozen solid, which helped preserve it. But some of the plant material still held tiny traces of organic carbon. That means these leaves once touched sunlight. They lived. They breathed. And somehow, after millions of years under ice, their traces survived. That is like finding a message from Earth's past stored in a freezer the size of a continent. But here's where the story becomes even more important. If Greenland once had forests, that means its ice sheet did not always exist. In fact, it formed and melted multiple times throughout history. Which means one thing: the ice sheet is not permanent. It can disappear. And when it does, the entire planet changes. Let us go back to that ancient Greenland one more time. Scientists believe that the forest covered large parts of the island before the ice formed. This means temperatures back then were warm enough to support trees, rivers, and soil. But if Greenland was warm once, could it warm up again? Well, we do not need to guess. We already see it happening. Modern satellites show that Greenland's ice sheet is melting faster than ever. Every year, billions of tons of ice melt down into the ocean. And the frozen forest tells us a frightening truth. Greenland can melt completely. It has happened before. And if it happens again, sea levels around the world could rise by more than 7 meters. That is enough to flood entire cities. New York, Miami, London, Shanghai, vanishing coastlines. Millions of people forced to move. And it all connects back to that silent forest hidden under the ice. But before we jump into the future, let us go deeper into the ice. Literally, picture a drill the height of a small building, spinning downward, cutting through layer after layer of snow turned to ice. Every meter represents a year of snowfall. The deeper you go, the older the ice. 1,000 meters down, you are in the time of the Roman Empire. 2,000 meters down, you reach the age of mammoths. And below that is where the surprise waits. Not ice, not snow, soil. Actual forest soil pressed deep under a frozen ceiling. The discovery shocked scientists because they believed Greenland had been frozen for nearly 3 million years straight. But this soil proved something different. Greenland had melted at least once in the last million years. That means our planet warmed enough to melt massive ice sheets at a time when no humans were driving cars, burning fossil fuels, or heating up the atmosphere. So, if natural warming once melted Greenland, what do you think human-driven warming could do? That is why the frozen forest is not just a scientific discovery, it is a warning. Let us look at another clue inside the soil. When the leaves were examined under a microscope, something strange appeared. The cells inside the leaf were still visible, frozen in place, like a photograph trapped in ice. This means the forest froze quickly, not slowly rotted away, not blown apart by storms, but locked in a deep freeze fast enough to hold its shape. That shows how violently the climate changed back then. But here is where things get even more fascinating. Inside the ancient soil, scientists found grains of pollen, tiny particles made by plants. Pollen can travel by wind. It can stick to animals, but most importantly, it can survive for millions of years if protected. By studying this pollen, scientists can recreate the entire landscape that once stood in Greenland. It reveals what trees grew there, what the forest looked like, and even what the temperature might have been. So, what kind of forest was it? Surprisingly, it was not a rainforest or thick jungle. It looked more like a cool, temperate forest. Think birch trees, moss, small shrubs, and hardy plants able to grow in short, chilly summers. It was peaceful, quiet, beautiful. And then it was buried under ice taller than any mountain in Europe. Now let us jump forward again to the present. Greenland's ice sheet contains enough frozen water to raise global sea levels by more than 7 meters. That is like adding a giant layer of ocean on top of the world. If even half of Greenland melts, coastlines everywhere will change forever. And the buried forest tells us that Greenland does not need to stay frozen. It can melt naturally. And human activity is speeding that up. But here's something many people do not know. When the soil was first analyzed, scientists found signs that Greenland melted fairly recently in Earth's history. Possibly as recent as the last interglacial period around 400,000 years ago. That might sound old, but in Earth time, it is nothing. A blink. This means that Earth does not always keep one climate for long. Warm periods, cold periods, ice ages, melting ages. Earth moves between them like stepping stones. And we are living in one of the warm steppes right now. But you might be thinking, if the forest was buried under ice for millions of years, how did the leaf tissue stay so perfect? The answer is simple. Ice is the best freezer in the world. No bacteria, no insects, no oxygen, no sunlight. All the things that destroy leaves simply stop. The forest froze in time and the ice held it there. Now imagine what else could be down there. Ancient insects, seeds, pine needles, even the chemical fingerprints of the air the trees breathe. This frozen forest could teach us more about ancient Earth than almost any fossil dig. But the ice that protects it is disappearing, and as Greenland melts, that frozen world could vanish before we fully understand it. That is why scientists are racing to collect samples now. Once the ice melts, the ancient soil will be exposed to air for the first time in millions of years. And the moment it touches warm air, it will start to decay. The past will slip away. So what does this mean for you? Well, this discovery helps us understand how fast Earth can warm, how ice sheets respond to change, and how dangerous rapid melting can be for future generations. Now picture Greenland 3 million years from now. What will it look like? A frozen desert, a melting island, or a Greenland once again, full of forests? It depends on what we do now. And if you ever get a chance to stand on Greenland's ice, remember this. Under your feet, far below the cold surface, lies a forest that once felt sunshine. A forest that once grew, lived, and thrived. A forest waiting for its story to be told. And part of that story is still being written by us. Thanks for watching. Remember to like, subscribe, and leave a comment if you want more stories hidden inside our planets.